January think they slick, don't they? January tried to make a fool out of me, guys. Before I even get into this movie, let me tell you how slick January think they is. You see, I went all the way through January without reviewing a single shitty movie. I mentioned this in a bunch of my other reviews. Yeah, there's some average movies. Yeah, there's some meh movies or some disappointing movies. But I wasn't offended by anything that I saw in January. We switched to February, and then they decide, okay, let's take a movie that clearly should have been released in January, and let's just drop it in the first week of February. Yeah, you thought you could escape us, didn't you, Hannibal? Yeah, I did, January. I did think that I could escape you, but here we are. So Winchester is a new horror film. It stars Helen Mirren and it stars Jason Clarke, and it's, I guess, loosely based off of true events, or it's based off of actual true events. I guess there actually is a Winchester mansion out there. There's a lot of people that believe that the Winchester mansion is haunted. I don't know how true any of that is. I'm just going to talk about the story as it is in this movie. In the movie, Jason Clarke plays a psychiatrist or a doctor of some kind, and Helen Mirren plays Sarah Winchester, who I guess is the majority owner of the Winchester Rifle Company. And she's been acting kind of crazy since her husband and her son died. She's been acting kind of loopy. So the people at the company go to Jason Clarke's character and they're like, hey, can you go check her out? Can you go assess her? Make sure that her state of mind is in a good place. If it's not, then we can take the company from her and sell it and do a bunch of other shit. Clarke decides to go check on this woman and study her and assess her state of mind. And while he's staying at the Winchester mansion with her and her niece and nephew, a whole bunch of really weird shit starts happening. He believes that the house is haunted by the spirits of people who have been killed by Winchester rifles, and so we have... Good Lord, this movie was boring. I'm a positive person, so I'm going to start out with the positives. Helen Mirren. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Helen Mirren is one of those class act actresses. I love her in pretty much everything she's in. And in this movie, she was okay. She's one of those weirdly attractive older women. She's the perfect cougar MILF that I can't really explain why I'm attracted to her. All I know is she can get the D. There's a special place in my heart and my pants for Helen Mirren, should she ever be interested. And her mouth are really the only reason that I am not going to shit on this movie more than I should. Oh my God, could you try to make a horror movie more boring than this? This movie is a complete and utter snooze fest. I was bored. I did something that I never do. I'm one of those people that respects the movie-going experience. I love going to the movies, and I always respect it. I'm never on my phone. I turn my phone off whenever I go to a movie or a screening, and I don't talk a lot because I respect the movie-going experience. I got so bored halfway through the movie that I actually popped open my phone and started watching Netflix. I know, me watching Netflix during a movie, that never happens, but that's how boring this movie was. It made me go to Netflix and chill in the middle of the theater. By the way, not that I'm advertising for Netflix or anything, but you guys should check out Altered Carbon. That's what I was watching. It looks pretty interesting. This movie is an hour and a half long, and I would say probably for an hour and 15 minutes of that hour and a half runtime, nothing happens. Nothing of consequence happens in this movie. It is just an hour and 20 minutes of stupid, pointless, predictable, boring-ass jump scares. That's all it is. It's just a bunch of easy-ass, lazy jump scares. Pretty much every jump scare that you could think of. There's even a jump scare of a rollerblade skating across the floor, and I'm supposed to be scared of that shit? How about you kiss my ass, movie? How about that? Every scare in this movie from the beginning to the end is a jump scare. There's just no getting around it, and I'm sorry, it's lazy, it's tired, and it makes the entire movie boring because I can predict how each scary scene is going to go. You get to the characters and the dialogue, everything else about this movie is boring too. The characters are bland. Jason Clarke is kind of the main character of the movie, and he's a boring piece of shit. I don't really care about him. They do try to flesh him out a little bit towards the end of the movie, but by the time you figure out or learn anything about his character, I've already spent 80 to 90% of the movie thinking that he's boring, so I don't care at that point. Also, a woman and a son in this movie, and I'm kind of like, why are they in the movie? Do they add anything to the movie? You could take them out of the movie and the movie would literally be no different. You have to almost try to make a movie this goddamn boring. I mean, there is scene upon scene of exposition, of exposition, of exposition, of exposition. Not really interesting exposition. It's just really boring exposition told by boring characters, and then they're going to wander a hall and then there's going to be a predictable jump scare. And I don't care. I'm falling asleep talking about this movie. Can we just score this thing and get the fuck out of here? Helen Mirren saved this movie. I'm going to give Winchester the kryptonite rating. was this close. I was this close to handing out my first Quest for Peace of 2018. But Helen Mirren and her sexy ass. Yeah, she saved this movie, unfortunately. Or I guess fortunately. However you want to look at it. And let me know what's the best haunted story that you've ever heard. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show. And as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel. And stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.